Hello and welcome to a PROMS celebrating Vivaldi and Bach here at the Royal Albert Hall. Visiting us from across the channel, Le Consort's enthusiasm for early music is nothing short of contagious. The ensemble, who are celebrating their 10th anniversary this year, are led by their co-founder Théotime Langlois de Swart, and he'll be leading from the violin in a selection of concertos, including Summer from Vivaldi's Four Seasons and Bach's Air, often known as Air on a G string. Now, as well as these giants of the Baroque era, Théotime and Le Consort have curated a prom that brings us a rare chance to hear in this hall pieces by some of their contemporaries, Legrenzi, Uccellini and Nicola Matthias Jr. Now, they were prolific in their day, and these young musicians here passionately believe that they deserve to be better known today. Now, what connects all these composers was a mission to push at the very limits of what a violin could do. The pieces demand the sort of pyrotechnics and virtuosity they knew would have the power to mesmerize people, and they weren't wrong, as Théotime will soon demonstrate. And I am delighted to have the perfect companion for today's Spot of Time Travel, a doctor too, no less, broadcaster, author, presenter of BBC Radio 3's early music show, Dr. Hannah French. And Hannah, it really is lovely to have you with me up here in the gallery here at the Royal Albert Hall.
It's great to be here.
And lovely to be here for their debut as well. It's going to be quite the day, isn't it?
It is. I think we're all going to be energised by this. And this is a young, dynamic group who really deliver on all the drama and the lyricism that the best of Baroque music promises.
And I also love about Baroque that you're never quite sure what's going to happen. And I think these guys are going to definitely deliver that jeopardy, aren't they?
Well, Vivaldi should have you on the edge of the seat, that's for sure. But yeah, they are a young group, as you say, a decade of Le Consort now. They met at the Paris Conservatoire, and they really proved in a very short space of time that they have the instincts for this repertoire. Théotime especially. I mean, what a meteoric rise these past 5 years. Awards, accolades for all those albums. He's an old soul with new ideas. And I think that is just what's coming out of France at the moment, actually, with period groups. You know, it's a really exciting scene, from medieval to actually romantic repertoire. Loads of exciting stuff going on. But actually, some of the really established groups, Les Arts Florissants, Les Talents Lyriques, they are turning into real powerhouses of new talent, and they've nurtured these players too.
But often when you think about Baroque music, you think of it as quite intimate chamber music, if you like, and yet here we are in the Royal Albert Hall. Would this have been typical in Vivaldi's day?
Well, I think for Vivaldi especially, there are three houses, if you like, where you would have heard his concertos. The Opera House, he loved to play between the acts of the opera, so this is exactly the kind of scene for that. The House of God, so at the Pietà, the institute where the women and the girls played his concertos, and then in all the houses of the nobility, so just the scene.
Well, Hannah, we will be chatting more, but so interesting to hear about the culture and the environment that's given rise to this ensemble. A stillness is descending inside the Royal Albert Hall for today's concert by the French ensemble Le Consort. Théotime Langlois de Swart will begin the prom with Fantasia No. 2 for solo violin, composed around 1720 by Nicola Matthias Jr., a London-born violin virtuoso of Italian descent.
Euro. This is timed for 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Phenomenal playing there from Teotim and Le Consort, performing all 6 movements of Vivaldi's Violin Concerto in D minor. And Hannah, can we just have a moment for the dry ice and drama at the beginning of that selection of music? My goodness.
Yeah, see what I mean about the energy? I mean, it's the feeling of space that they create, isn't it? Whether it's across the stage or within the score.
I know. Before that, of course, we heard that amazing improvisation from Justin as well on the harpsichord.
It's just an organic feeling, isn't it, across the ensemble?
Yeah. And I mean, next we're going to have a beautiful arrangement of Bach's transcription of the Adagio from the Marcello Oboe Concerto. That's gorgeous.
Yes, and to begin the next section, music from an aria from 1675, just a few years before Vivaldi was born, by Giovanni Legrenzi.
Oh, just gorgeous. The air from Bach's Orchestral Suite Number 3, composed in about 1730, known by many of us as air on a G string. And Hannah, I felt there was this collective exhalation here in the hall when that started. Oh, delightful. Just
exactly.
Yeah.
And seeing Henry Wood's bust just over Teotihuacan's shoulder. I mean, this is a piece with long echoes back through the proms. Henry Wood won over so many hearts and minds to Bach with that piece.
And before that, we heard that lovely piece of Uccellini. Now, was it just me, Hannah, or could you have been forgiven for thinking there was a bit of the English country garden in there?
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, it's a bergamasca. It's a lively old medieval folk dance from northern Italy.
One of the things I'm really loving about their performance as well is the communication between all these young musicians, particularly between Teotihuacan and Justin as well at the harpsichord.
Yes, exactly. Co-founders of the ensemble. And also that flexibility, how they can just shrink down to the core players and really draw us in. And then, as you say, that kind of relaxing the whole band come back as if a chorus.
Well, talking of the core players, the next piece we're going to hear is going to see the founding quartet of Le Consort performing a piece by Vivaldi. It's known as La Foglia, one of his earliest works. This is actually making its PROMS debut, this piece. One of Vivaldi's masterpieces there, making its PROMS debut. The Trio Sonata No. 12 La Foglia, performed by the core group who've been with Le Consort from the very start. We've got Baroque violinist Sophie de Badoneche, we've got Hannah Salzenstein on cello, Justin Taylor on harpsichord, and of course, Theodine on violin as well. And we're hoping he'll be able to join us up here in the gallery for a bit of a chat during the interval. But Hannah, we spoke of pyrotechnics for the violin, but my goodness, every instrument there was showing virtuosity, which was just beyond, wasn't it?
Exactly. I mean, La Folia, just the tune of the moment. It pretty much went viral. Scarlatti, Purcell, Handel, all at it. There's an entry in a Spanish dictionary from 1610 that said that the musicians played so fast it was almost as if they were out of their mind.
I mean, it has been a breathtaking first half from Le Consort. They've given us this wonderful mix of the familiar and the slightly less familiar, haven't they?
Yes. It's already their trademark, I think. I mean, this has been beautifully curated for the prom, but it's also something of a showcase of the albums that they've brought out so far. And they are ambassadors for the likes of Marco Uccellini. And, you know, he's a composer we should know a lot more about. An earlier version of Vivaldi, in some respects, he was a violin-playing priest and wrote so many sonatas, concertos that are beautiful and deserve to be better known.
Difficult question, but a highlight so far?
Well, I've just been really impressed by two things, really. Their lyricism. Language is so important to speak the music of the Baroque. It was at the time, and actually, at the moment that you had these traveling virtuosos, they were coming from across Europe. They were bringing their new ideas. So you would have French people playing Italian music, Italians playing French music. There would be all sorts of styles in that melting pot. And I think that they really play with that touching lyricism. And you can hear a piece of music you know so well, like the air on the G string, but hear it as if afresh.
Well, I'm delighted to say that Theodine and his violin are going to join us right now. He's come up to the gallery. Welcome, Theodine. Come and take a seat. Thank you so much.
Thank
yes,
you.
a round of applause for a wonderful first half. How are you feeling about it?
Very good.
Yeah?
It's very warm. It's impressive to see the crowd,
Right.
and you can really feel that everybody is very friendly and they are passionate about music and they want to hear great music. So it's great experience.
Yeah. You completely held them spellbound, but we were just curious, how did Vivaldi get into your blood?
I think it's because of Vivaldi that I'm now playing the violin, because I heard the Four Seasons when I was a kid, and I think it's a masterpiece also to bring this music to people and bring the music to children, and I really love to listen to the Four Seasons a lot.
Which is a bit of luck, because we're going to hear it, of course, in the second half.
At the end of it.
What is it particularly about summer that you love?
I think it's very striking, the atmosphere at the beginning, because you know that summer for us it's Ibiza, it's like Côte d'Azur, but at the time of Vivaldi it was not. It was not at all. It was very dramatic. The beginning of L'Estate is very it's talk about death, it's talk about a lot of very, very strong feelings. And so I love this, and I love the apocalypse of the third movement. It's very biblical apocalypse, and it's very inspiring to play.
Yeah, and this music just feeds off the audience reaction, doesn't it? You mentioned the children, some have just come past here, but you know, that kind of the zing and the sense that you get of the cackle of the audience. Does it inspire you to take more risks, go further?
Yeah, and sometimes the silence sounds completely different with this kind of crowds. And so it's very interesting to see how they react if you had just one little bit more of silence than you are used to. And this is very impressive because you feel the connection with everybody in the audience.
I mean, what I love about a lot of the music you've played today is this sort of lyrical singing quality to it. And you were a singer, weren't you, when you were a kid?
I was a boy singer in a boys choir. My parents are teaching singing, and I was raised as a singer, but I choose violin.
Lovely violin, by the way. Tell us about the violin. You've got it with you.
It's a very beautiful Bergonzi violin. So Bergonzi is the one who bought the shop of Antonio Stradivari.
Okay.
And so it's really similar to a Stradivarius. It's just even better.
How old?
1733.
My goodness.
So he could have known some of the composers that we are playing today.
Exactly. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
That must make it feel pretty special to play, right?
Yeah, it's very special. I love his sound, and it is a great friend of mine in a way.
Well, Theodine, you know, take your friend back downstairs. Get ready for the second half. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and
Thank you very
talk
much.
to us. Well, we had a spectacular first half. We had a wonderful chat with Teo Team, and as he was saying, we have summer from the Four Seasons to come. But before we get to that, we have even more Vivaldi in store. We've got his violin concerto in A minor and his concerto for strings. And as it is a Vivaldi and Bach prom, only right that we have a bit more Bach as well, we're going to hear the Largo from his violin concerto in G minor. Now, Hannah, I know you have been knee-deep in Vivaldi as it's the 300th anniversary coming up of the publication of the Four Seasons, which is a big deal.
Exactly. I spent a lot of last year trying to follow in his footsteps, whether it's through his music and his manuscripts or actually over in Mantua and in Venice as well. So, yeah, someone had to do it.
I was going to say, that's not a bad way to spend your time. I mean, what does it tell you when you look back at the music about his world and the time he lived in?
It tells you a lot, and the more time you spend there, the more you realize about the sounds, the significance of the different bird calls, the festivals that were going on, the sights that he would have seen. They are in many ways sonic postcards or snapshots of his time. And when we think about seasonality, if you were going to write the Four Seasons today, it would be flash floods and forest fires. And there may come a time when we're even more nostalgic for the real even quarterings of the year that we can really still feel through the Four Seasons.
Interesting as well that it was published in Amsterdam, not in Italy.
Yes.
This music travelled, didn't it?
It really did. It made Vivaldi famous, and his decision to publish in Amsterdam was no mistake. He could have published in Venice or in Rome as he did, but actually Amsterdam had the connections, and through that and through his very business savvy father, he was able to cut a deal with Etienne Roger and his son-in-law Le Sen, and his music then went through all of their networks across Europe.
Teo Team and the other 20 members of the consort coming back to the stage, ready to share some more Baroque delights in this prom, Hannah?
Yeah, the ensemble beginning the second half of today's concert with one of more than 200 concertos Vivaldi wrote for solo violin. This one in A minor, composed for the women and girls of the Pietà, the Institute in Venice, where he created a world-class ensemble to showcase his music.
Consort with a sparkling rendition of Vivaldi's Violin Concerto in A minor. And next, we're going to hear the Largo from Johann Sebastian Bach's Violin Concerto in G minor. Another phenomenal display from Le Consort. That was Vivaldi's Concerto for Strings in G minor. Just stunning playing, characteristically full of verve and virtuosity.
It's almost hard to believe, isn't it, that Vivaldi's music was forgotten for the good part of a century, not long after his death.
We're going to round off today's concert with a violin concerto that is known to most of us as Summer, from Vivaldi's Four Seasons, a piece of great significance to Teotine. A roar from the audience here in the Royal Albert Hall for that performance of Summer from Vivaldi's Four Seasons by Le Consort. And Vivaldi might have been neglected in the centuries after his death, but my goodness, I think he's made something of a comeback recently. I mean, that is now one of classical music's most recognisable and loved pieces, and we just heard it performed spectacularly well. I mean, apocalyptic was the word that Teotim described. I mean, Hannah, he may have been leading the consort, but they all played a shining part, didn't they?
Absolutely, and what they do so well in their sound and their body language as well is you know, you're invested, you believe in the plight of the season, and the soloist character particularly, it's that fear. Look at him.
I mean, he's a bit of a rock star, isn't he?
He is. But they brought that fear, and you really believed it from the heat and the winds and the thunder. You know, it is a destructive force that they turned it into.
We earlier saw the core quartet performing alone, and you can see them at the front. We've got the violinist Sophie de Bardonnèche, we've got Hannah Zalsenstein on cello, Justin Taylor the harpsichord, as we saw. Oh, we've got an encore, I think, coming up. Out of breath after that encore. That was a piece by Charles Addison, who was a British composer of the Baroque period. Lived in Newcastle. It was called Confuria, from his Concerto Grosso No. 6 from 1744. I mean, Hannah, that was a choice.
Talk about catching the winds of Vivaldi's summer storm.
Absolutely beautiful, isn't it? That was the French ensemble, Le Consort, concluding their PROMS debut at the Royal Albert Hall with a second encore by a British composer, music there from a suite called The Mad Lover by John Eccles from 1695. Gorgeous, that.
Yes. The calm after the storm.
Of that Furia before.
I think
my
we needed
goodness.
it.
Yeah. They have given us such a wonderful selection of music to sort of celebrate their debut, their 10th anniversary as well. I've been so impressed by the way they have brought new vigour to this music, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I mean, you've got to be excited to see where they go next, haven't you, after this?
The audience have loved it. It does look as if he is leaving this. Oh, is he? Who knows? Is he teasing us?
Do you want to hear something again? Yeah. What? This is democracy.
giving the audience what they want. Le Consort really letting rip there, Hannah, saying, you want some more? Okay, we'll give you the hits again. Lovely little reprise.
And you just trust him, don't you?
Look at this standing ovation for them. I mean, they are a force. They're a real force to be reckoned with.
They
this
are.
music.
But as I say, you trust him. You know he's going to take it right to the edge of every extreme. But he's got the panache, he's got the style and the substance.
I just love seeing how much fun they've been having with
Yes.
this. With this performance, with the music, with each other. I mean, it's just joyful, isn't it?
It's a real team sport, isn't it?
Yeah. A tier team sport. Come on. Oh, Hannah, what a treat that has been. And it was a nice touch, wasn't it? Having British composers of the Baroque, that Avicen and the Eccles as well. Beautiful piece of
It was
music.
a lovely touch, and it really showed what we were talking about earlier about how Italian music and these virtuosos spread across Europe and were incredibly popular here. And also testament to what they're doing, Avicen and Eccles on stage with Vivaldi, just how it should be.
Listen, thank you so much for joining me up here in the gallery today. It really has been such a pleasure having
pleasure for
you
me too.
with me. The time has come, I'm afraid, to say farewell to Le Consort's Prom, but Andy Oliver is here on BBC4 on Sunday evening with more exciting young talent, this time 5-time Grammy Award-winning singing sensation Samara Joy. The 25-year-old from the Bronx and her band joined forces with the BBC Concert Orchestra to perform songs from the great American songbook and beyond. And we are only a week into what is already proving to be a very memorable season. And as ever, each of this year's 86 proms will be broadcast live on BBC Radio 3. You can listen back to them all on BBC Sounds, of course. Coming up on TV and the BBC iPlayer, we have a soul music prom. We've got Viennese waltzers. We've got Anushka Shankar with her sitar, Grammy Award-winning performer St. Vincent, and the much-anticipated Traitors prom, to name just a few. There really is something for everyone. So, until next time, goodbye from the Royal Albert Hall.